I would like to begin this speech by telling a short story. There was a young man who was a junior in high school, played football, basketball, and dreamed of attending college and becoming a criminal justice major. He was well known, very popular with his classmates. In the spring of his junior year, his girlfriend became pregnant. In the middle of his senior year, he became a father at 17 years old. He joined the United States Army in the delayed entry program in the spring of his senior year. He graduated and was shipped off to basic training 8 days later. He took care of his daughter and his girlfriend. They eventually got married 5 years later. Even though he had a successful career in the Army, serving in many leadership positions, he was faced with bullying and peer pressure simply because of his name. He ended his term of service with the Department of Justice after 8 years and began working for the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. While working there, he served in various leadership positions and faced discrimination, bullying, and peer pressure. He worked there for 25 years and retired from government service with 32 years, 6 months, and 25 days. But who's counting? At this point in his life, he was 50 years old. His motto at his retirement was, I'm not over the hill because I just started to climb it. He decided to attend college and fulfill that lifelong dream. He took a 3-month break and enrolled as a full-time non-traditional student in college. 9 years, 3 degrees later, that young man is me, if you have not figured that out yet. My most significant defining characteristic is being goal-focused, self-aware, self-confident. I'm very persistent because of having this keen ability to endure the face of adversity. I'm a proud disabled veteran who utilizes Veterans Administration benefits to obtain a higher education. Throughout my lifelong and educational journey, I have had some firsthand experiences with first impressions, peer pressure, bullying, and the fact that you are never too old to learn. First impressions are everything. They can make or break a person, company, service, or product. That's why it is essential to make an excellent first impression. Furthermore, a person's first impression can sway a person's opinion concerning their professional as well as their personal life. For instance, a candidate's first impression in an interview may be crucial in that individual getting hired. Similarly, dating and relationships often rely on first impressions for potential partners. How exactly is a first impression defined? A first impression is an initial and often lasting impression of someone or something. The first impression is the initial observation of a person or thing that creates a lasting opinion. Hence, this interaction is crucial because it sets the tone for everything afterwards. Will Rogers had a quote that says, "You never get a second chance to make a first impression." Even though risky behavior and peer pressure can have various meanings for people, typically it was related to drugs and alcohol. Most of the time, it seems that most well-known types of peer pressure comes from friends partaking in substance such as drug and alcohol and trying to persuade someone in the group. According to an article, Peer Pressure and Risk-Taking Behaviors, Children by Lewis and Lewis, peer pressure is a significant factor in developing risk-taking behaviors such as alcohol, drug, and tobacco use. Not only are their risk-taking behaviors prevalent throughout life, but most specifically throughout high school and college. Research has revealed that children grow older, their parents' influence over them diminishes. Friends influence them more, involving their interaction with peers is a healthy part of every child's development. Some of the troublesome aspects of peer pressure are negative influence, possible adolescence outcomes such as drug abuse, shoplifting, and teen pregnancy. Among the most common and neglected problem in the world, bullying is on top of the list. It is a terrible and dangerous act in numerous places, from homes, schools, and workplaces to the internet, known as cyberbullying. According to the National Center Against Bullying, the definition of bullying is when an individual or a group of people with more power repeatedly cause hurt or harm to any person or group or people who feels helpless to respond. Everyday acts of bullying include teasing, insults, name-calling, provoking, threats, taunting, and it can be physical by beating or stealing. To fully understand this issue, one should look at the address and underlying reasons caused why someone becomes a bully in the first place, and what its effects can be later on. Neglect and insecurity can make a person want to bully others. However, the victim can get seriously hurt, and this can lead to severe problems like depression and poor performance in academics or in life in general. The 6 R's of bullying prevention are rules, recognize, report, respond, refuse, replace, are not a program but a comprehensive process by reducing bullying with the inside out, involving the entire community, school, and the community. Remembering that October 2nd, 2023 is World Day of Bullying Prevention. Students, schools on October the 1st, and in the whole month, for the entire month of October, all communities all over the world go blue together against bullying. Do you agree with "you are never too old to learn"? It's probably a bad question to ask y'all. I agree with the saying, you are never too old to learn, for several reasons. First, new knowledge and technology are frequently updated daily so that older adults cannot know all about everything. Apart from this, 60% of the people in our country need to learn how to use a computer or the internet. The use of computers and the internet is not only for older adults that cannot catch up with this high tech, but also young people. So we must learn. Otherwise, we will leave behind technological advancement. Moreover, age determines the state of human life and physical development. However, knowledge does not increase with age if we don't learn. Furthermore, no rule says old people cannot understand, but everyone can learn to improve their knowledge. The more people realize, the more they know. On the other hand, many firms and employers don't employ people based on age. However, they need intelligent, knowledgeable, and experienced people to work for them. As you can see in many institutions of higher learning, not only young people can be students, and older adults are classified as non-traditional students. Do you know why? It is because education has no limit, and nor does the people. In addition, sometimes older adults may learn faster than young people because they have more experiences in real life, deep thought, with high analysis of events or situations. Thus, people want to improve their education, whether young or old. All in all, age is acceptable for the entire learner. Whether old or young is unimportant, but their learning intention is valued. Albert Einstein had a quote that says, "Commit yourself to lifelong learning, the most valuable asset you will ever have in your mind and what you put in it." In conclusion, a first impression can also be defined as the unspoken, instantaneous judgment of another person's character, product, service, or organization. This thought process usually happens automatically and involuntarily. Peer pressure is described as being influenced by your peers. Peer pressure also involves pressure to engage in certain activities or conform to specific standards by the group. Many things may cause peer pressure. They start with the individuals feeling they need to be accepted or recognized by famous people or people they admire. Listen to your subconscious. It will guide you right versus wrong. Bullying has several consequences, such as rage, revenge, jealousy, and the urge to be in control. On the other hand, bullying has several severe effects, such as self-destruction. Indeed, bullying is a very unpleasant phenomenon in everyday life, and no one should look the other way towards it. Wear your blue shirt on October the 2nd and throughout the month of October, and practice bullying prevention during World Bullying Prevention Month. Getting older doesn't mean learning stops at a certain age or point. We are constantly growing and changing. No matter how much you've accomplished, you are always young enough to learn new things to enhance your life. Henry Ford once said, anyone who stops learning is old at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Thank you. Is there any questions?
This will now start our anti-bullying discussion. Crowd members, feel free to answer these questions, give your opinions. As part of the 2023-2024 Student Handbook, bullying, as defined in Georgia law, means an act which occurs on school property, on school vehicles, on school bus stops, or at school-related functions will not be tolerated. With the new age of technology, how do you think school officials can cut down on cyberbullying? Fellow council members can answer too. I'll reread the question again. Yes, ma'am. With the new age of technology, how do you think school officials can cut down on the cases of cyberbullying? You raise his hand first.
Y'all young people probably ain't gonna like this answer, but some of the school systems up in I guess in the Atlanta district, they have a little device where you lock your cell phone up, you gotta turn your phone in, and then at the end of the day, it's an electronic device where it actually remotely unlocks that bag and it keeps your phone in there. A lot of that cyberbullying comes from having so much time with that telephone. If they cut down or minimize the use of that telephone during school hours, because in the 70s, we didn't have that problem. You had a problem about somebody stealing your Marlboros or somebody taking your lunch money. So I think if you take that cell phone and minimize some of that time that interaction they have with that cell phone in class, in school, or whatever, I think it would greatly help the school system in minimizing that problem. Thank you.
I think Ms. Vickers had her hand.
I did. I kind of got scared, but I'm gonna go ahead and go. I was gonna say, they can actually fully put prayer back in the schools, because I know when I was in school, that was a big thing for all of us. And, I've been out of school over 20 years, so I think that would be a great impact for the schools,
I agree.
for the students especially.
Yes, ma'am. Questions?
I think if we get parents more involved within the school, making the students feel safe enough to come to the teachers or go to their counselors to speak about, what they're going through, because I think that's a lot of the issues is that, not to say that all the teachers are that way or all counselors or administrators are that way, but the students sometimes feel intimidated by the authority of the teachers or the administrators. And so if they kind of just, more interaction with the students than just, teaching, yes, but more interacting, how's your day going? Kind of observe your students, get to know your students. Because most of the time, if a teacher or administrator knows their student, then they'll recognize when there's an issue. And then they can address the issue. So I think that really would benefit the child that's being bullied or the child that's being the bully.
Yes, ma'am. I will say with coffee, I think they have improved on that. Now we have a social contract in each of our classes. You walk in and you have to no put downs, no discrimination, no putting, no talking about, no picking, no cracking. So I think they have done a good job with that. And they come in and when you walk in, they ask you what you had to eat last night, anything happened good over your weekend, stuff like that. So I think they have improved on that measure. Yes, ma'am.
I do want to say something on that. How would you think parents can get involved?
Now, speaking 30 years, my teacher, would pick up the phone. If they noticed something was wrong with me at school, or if they noticed my behavior at school, they I've been told that I have to come to the podium and everybody else who has something to say has to come to the podium. Because they can't hear you online. What I was gonna say that, Mr. Washington, when he was talking about the, what they were doing in Mississippi and places like that, I watched that as well on the news. And what it is, each child will get a little pouch. And they put that, every morning they come through the line, put the pouch in, and it's like what they hook to your clothes if you're stealing, something like that. And that's the only way you can unhook it in the afternoon is on a machine. And what they were saying was that the kids were more, they were engaging more in the classrooms. They were talking more in the cafeteria because they wasn't just sitting there on their phones. So they were that's how the teacher was able to get a good connection with the kids because they're not so caught up on the phone, and they had to learn. They couldn't cheat. So they had to know that they had to learn. So I wanted to bring that up. That is a good idea. And what they were saying about where does it start? It starts at the home. Things are so different. Babies are having babies, and unfortunately, you know, your generation is going to have to step up and help. You're going to have to get it where you put that phone down. You know, where we all as a family sit at the table. You know, I get on y'all when we go out of town. Put them phones down. Let's talk. Let's talk. And we've got to get into the rhythm of spending some quality time. You can't ask from the parents if you're not willing to give. And again, parents, we've got to step up as well and discipline, because we can't expect the school system to raise our kids. You've got to have respect for your parents so that you can have respect for your teachers. So as young people, I want you all to think, what is it that you can do to help somebody be more respectful? Because as a teacher, you get tired of telling Johnny to keep sitting down, or you calling Johnny's mama, and Johnny's mama may be on drugs or something. So we got to figure out a way that those kids that you all know about, you got to start pulling yourself towards them and figure out what can you do, because they're a part of your community. And if you can help them, then you can help our community.
But that was like the conclusion of our anti-bullying discussion. We will now have NYC member comments. I'll go first. I want to thank you all for coming out here to support this Mayor Youth Council. It means a lot to us, especially with discussion. That was, you know, first time doing a thing like that, and it went really well. So I want to thank all the people that came out and engaging with us. Thank y'all.
Thank you all for coming to our meeting. We love to see all these beautiful faces. We hope you come to our next meeting in September and come have fun with us at our next gym meeting. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting us on today. And I would like to thank Mr. Washington for coming out and speaking to us. I really appreciate it. I hope to see y'all at the next meeting.
Thank you all for coming today. Thank you to our speaker, Mr. Washington, and I hope we see you at the next meeting.
Thank you all for coming out. Just to touch on what Mr. Washington said, I believe first impressions are everything, and you're never too old to be young. And bullying is a very bad thing going on in the community. And we also invite you to Team Core, and we host it here September 2nd at 9 a.m.
I want to thank you all for coming and hope to see you at our next meeting.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks to our speaker, Mr. Washington, our spotlight, Mr. Thomas, and hope to see you at our next meeting.
Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you Mr. Washington for coming and speaking with us, and thank you all for coming and being a part of this and being a part of our discussion. We hope to see you at our next meeting.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and thank you, Mr. Washington, for speaking about anti-bullying and peer pressure, because there are a lot of kids at school who feel like they need to be accepted. They try to do drugs, whatever to fit in. And I'm just glad that God gave me the conscience to know not to do that. So thank you.
There being no further business to come before the Junior Commission meeting, may I have the motion to adjourn?
I'll be abandoned, with this agenda.
I second this motion.
It's been motion in the second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
Adjourn.